Dean Caldwell, the visionary behind Peak Performance, a chain of state-of-the-art gyms, stood before his bathroom mirror, a stranger staring back. His usual bespoke suits were replaced by faded sweats, his polished leather shoes by worn-out sneakers. A week's growth of stubble obscured his chiseled jaw, and a cheap, slightly itchy baseball cap was pulled low over his eyes. This was his disguise, Dennis, a new hire for the night cleaning crew at his flagship gym. The transformation was complete, stripping away the layers of power and privilege he'd worn for decades. He felt the coarse fabric against his skin, heard the unfamiliar creak of the old sneakers, and anticipated the shift in how others would perceive him. No longer the esteemed CEO. He was just another cog in the machine, and a low-ranking one at that. The gym at 2 a.m. was a different beast entirely. The rhythmic clang of weights, usually a backdrop to his daytime visits, was replaced by the low hum of ventilation systems and the distant whir of cleaning machines. The vibrant energy of exercisers was absent, leaving behind a stark, almost sterile environment. The scent of disinfectant hung heavy, a stark contrast to the usual sweat and pre-workout aroma. Dean felt a surprising jolt of discomfort. His initial confidence, almost bordering on hubris, that he knew his company inside and out, already felt like a flimsy shield. He was here to understand why membership retention had been subtly slipping, a problem he couldn't quite pinpoint from his executive office. He expected minor inefficiencies, perhaps a few lazy employees. He wasn't prepared for what he would truly find. His first whisper of unease came on his third night. He was assigned to clean the men's locker room, a task usually outsourced to a different crew. He noticed several shower heads dripping constantly, staining the tiles. He made a mental note, a small discrepancy. Later, he overheard two trainers, oblivious to his presence, grumbling about a new scheduling software. "It's a mess, Jenna," one sighed. "Half my client are double-booked or just disappear from the system." The other, Jenna, replied, "Tell me about it, Elias. And trying to get IT to fix anything? Forget it. They just tell us to reboot and re-enter, like we have nothing better to do." Dean felt a familiar knot tightening in his stomach. These weren't isolated incidents, but small cracks hinting at deeper fissures he hadn't seen from above. His carefully constructed image of a perfectly oiled machine began to fray. The next evening, Dennis found himself thrust into a high-pressure situation. A massive spill of protein shake had occurred in the main workout area, right before a late-night class. The manager, a harried man named Dale, barked orders. "Dennis, you're on cleanup. And make it fast. The cardio class starts in 5. Dean, or rather Dennis, fumbled with the industrial mop, his usual dexterity replaced by awkward unfamiliarity. The sheer physical effort of scrubbing the sticky liquid, the pressure of the clock ticking down, and Dale's impatient glares made sweat prickle on his forehead. He almost slipped, nearly compromising his disguise. He felt the intense stress of the front line, the constant demand for speed, and the pressure of a looming deadline with inadequate tools. The crushing realization hit him like a physical blow. He was tasked with cleaning the gym's high-tech cardio machines. He noticed a persistent error message on several treadmills, displaying calibration error. He flagged it to Elias, the trainer he'd heard earlier. Elias merely shrugged. "Oh, those? They've been like that for months, Dennis. Management says they're looking into it. But honestly, no one expects them to get fixed. Members just use the working ones or go somewhere else." Dean felt a sudden coldness, a tightening in his chest. Calibration errors meant inaccurate readings, potentially leading to injuries, certainly leading to dissatisfaction. This wasn't just inefficiency, it was negligence. He had genuinely believed his equipment was meticulously maintained. The stabbing realization of a truth he was blind to, a systemic flaw he, as the owner, had allowed to fester, left him reeling. As the days turned into weeks, Dean started to hear the true voices of the unheard. He'd share a quick coffee break with a young woman named Maya, a fitness instructor, who spoke quietly of her struggle to afford rent on her meager hourly wage, despite working 40 hours a week. "They cut our class bonuses last quarter, Dennis," she confided, her eyes distant, "and my health insurance barely covers anything. I love teaching, but I don't know how much longer I can stay." Then there was old Hank, a maintenance worker, whose hands trembled slightly as he spoke a pervasive issue with broken plumbing in the staff bathrooms. Ignored for months. "We tell them, Dennis," Hank said, a quiet desperation in his voice. "But it's always budget constraints or we'll get to it. It's demoralizing." These weren't complaints. They were heartbreaking stories of genuine hardship, of dedicated employees feeling unvalued and unheard. Maya's unspoken despair, her love for her work battling with the stark reality of her financial struggle, pierced Dean's core. The absolute gut-wrenching betrayal came on his last night. He was emptying the trash in the main office. He found a discarded, half-shredded document. Curious, he pieced together enough to understand. It was an internal memo detailing a systematic strategy to inflate membership numbers by offering highly discounted, almost free trial memberships, and then making it incredibly difficult to cancel them, burying the cancellation clause deep within convoluted online forms. It was a deliberate, cynical ploy to mislead customers and artificially boost short-term revenue, directly contradicting the transparent and ethical practices he prided himself on. His breath caught in his throat, his blood running cold. This wasn't a flaw. It was a deliberate deception, a rot extending far deeper than he could have imagined. He literally stopped cold, the raw, physical, and emotional impact of this revelation hitting him with the force of a physical blow. The next morning, Dean Caldwell walked into Peak Performance, not as Dennis the cleaner, but as the CEO. The gym manager, Dale, was barking orders at a new cleaner. Dean cleared his throat. Dale turned, his jaw dropping his recognition, then dawning horror spread across his face. Silence fell, thick and suffocating. The few employees present, who had seen Dennis every night, stared in astonishment and disbelief. Dean's voice, though calm, resonated with unwavering resolve. Swift consequences followed. Dale was immediately dismissed, along with several other key individuals involved in the deceptive membership scheme. A comprehensive internal audit was launched, and within weeks, a new, transparent membership policy was introduced, prioritizing customer satisfaction over short-term gains. The old, broken equipment was replaced or repaired, and a new, anonymous feedback system was implemented for all employees. The dawn of a new era at Peak Performance was palpable. Employee wages were increased, and a robust benefits package was rolled out, directly addressing the struggles Dean had witnessed. Mental health support and financial literacy workshops became standard offerings. The gym, once a place of quiet desperation for some, transformed into a thriving community. Employee morale soared, reflected in genuine smiles and proactive service. Customer feedback became overwhelmingly positive, and membership retention, now based on genuine value, steadily climbed. Peak Performance didn't just recover, it was resurrected. The journey beneath the surface had taught Dean the vital importance of empathy, the transformative power of truly listening to frontline voices, and the eradication of the perilous disconnect between leadership and staff. His courageous, ethical leadership had not only restored the integrity and reputation of his organization, but had fostered a thriving, empathetic culture built on trust and mutual respect.